Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Brawl, Episode 2, post-Akron Brew Brawl event chat. It's our Too Many Beards. We're here today with Tyler and Josh. Tyler's on screen. Hello, Tyler. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Third time's a charm.
Yeah. You finally got you unfrozen. We're doing your unfrozen caveman lawyer there for a minute, so glad you're back. And then Josh, of course, is off the screen, just a voice in the ether for us. Josh, how's it going
That's
today?
right. I thought Tyler was working on his Han Solo act.
He was doing great. He was doing the carbonite. It was really good. So that got us all a little chuckle that we all needed on this evening. So guys, I'm glad we got to get a chance to talk about Akron Brew Brawl. We all just played in the Akron Brew Brawl, and legitimately, it is the Thursday after the Brew Brawl, and I am now just recovered from it. It's 3 days of nonstop not sleeping and all that fun stuff. So how you guys feeling?
Pretty good.
No,
Had a great time.
good.
Yeah, I was only there 1 day, so my recovery is probably not as difficult as yours.
Yeah, well, you showed up, win a tournament, and go home. We appreciate that about you. So yeah, and we're excited. We recorded a little chat with you, Josh, because you did win our Conquest event, and just talked about how your games and everything like that. So looking forward to everyone checking that out here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and talk about the event. So you guys both played in Conquest, right? And Tyler, you were there the whole weekend, kind of hanging out. So what was the experience like?
It was a pretty good time. Not a whole lot for me to do on Saturday. We had pretty good fun time playing board games Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday, hung out and did some drinking, helped out a little bit. And no, it was a good time overall. Sunday was obviously what I was there for the most part, other than hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
And I did pretty terrible at Conquest, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
Hey, that's good. If I'd played, I promise I would have done more. You didn't win the spoon though, so you didn't come in last. So so that's not terrible. And of course,
Man, Johnny.
Yeah, our good friend Johnny D took that spoon home, and I think he was really proud of it. So good for him. For those of you who don't know, Conquest events, the winner of the event gets a certificate that says you won, and the person who comes in last place gets a wooden spoon. It's a tradition Parabellum has, and people tend to want to fight for that spoon. So it's a nice little thing that they do, a little nod to, hey, you showed up, you're not very good at this game, but here's cookware, I suppose. So that's pretty good. But so the Conquest event was a lot of fun, and Friday night we played the Red Rising card game. That was a pretty cool game. I know nothing.
A game that I've had for a long time, and we've never actually played.
Yeah. I've never read the books, but playing the game, you guys kind of sort of talked me through a synopsis, and it seemed pretty interesting. So it is definitely on my list to read here coming up as soon as I finish the Stormlight Archives. And I don't know, I'm listening to audiobooks, so probably another 5-12 years to get through that last book. Those things are long. But back to the Brew Brawl. So for us, we love it. It's the games and the camaraderie, the social aspect of it. I think that we've all talked about how important that is, and just getting to meet new people, play with new people. We had Ohio, we had down in Columbus represented you, and then Sawyer, and then a gentleman came up from West Virginia. So appreciate Matt coming all the way up. Yeah. So it's cool to get to get folks together who otherwise wouldn't get to play games. And I had a blast with Conquest. I was hoping I would get to hop in, but it didn't pan out. But so overall it was a lot of fun. We had that, Age of Sigmar, and Star Wars Legion on Sunday. So that was a lot of fun. And one of my favorite parts of the event is the food. And you guys notice I put Conquest right by the food buffet, so you'd have easy access to it. In case I got to play, I'd be able to just walk over there. And Missing Falls Brewery does an amazing job with the spread. I usually gain about 5 pounds over the weekend. So yeah, it's good stuff. Uh-oh. And I've lost Tyler. Welcome back, Tyler.
Sure.
You're still there. Okay, good.
I just paused. Yeah.
Good. So that's that.
Yeah, the food was phenomenal. I mean, there was a little bit of everything. There was some deli sandwiches, a couple different kinds of potatoes, pizza, Barbecue. What else was there?
Wings. There's always wings because they know I'll eat my weight in wings. Mac and cheese. Brisket. We had brisket on Sunday, right? Did you mention the brisket? That was really good. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, a lot of people they'll come up and they'll say, hey, look, I saw the ticket, and it's like, you know, that's really expensive for an event, but now that I'm here, I see the food, I see the way that the event runs. It's like, it is a great value, because the way I look at it, if I go play in a tournament, I'm probably dropping, you know, $20-25 on lunch, you know, equally the same amount on dinner, or, you know, something in there. I'm probably spending $40 on food a day when I'm there anyway. Then, you know, the people tend to love the prize support. So like overall, I think it's a pretty good value for an event. At least I think so. You know, but I'm slightly biased. But yeah, I mean, that spread is so darn good, and that we get so many compliments about it. So it's exciting for us. You know, keeping gamers fed and happy is an important thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of keeping them happy, my favorite part was that you put us right by all the fans.
That there was also that, yeah, that was a lesson learned. We usually hold this event in like mid-September, second, third week of September. We had to move it up this month due to scheduling. So it was warm, and it was a very warm weekend. It was high 80s, and a building that's 120 years old. It was built in the Industrial Revolution to build tires. So the airflow was a bit of a challenge. And having you guys conveniently by where a lot of the fans were probably helped out a little bit. So that was, of course, by design, in case I had to play down there. So it's good to be the one who gets to set these things up from time to time. So. Yeah, but I mean, compared to Josh and I went out and played that event out in a barn. To me, it felt like a brisk fall day in there, but lasting impressions. You guys going to come back?
Oh yeah, of course.
Not to put you on the spot or anything. Yeah. You're kind of put on the spot.
But honestly, not just because you guys. I think it's a fun event. I have a good time there.
Good.
I've played in quite a few tournaments in different settings, and it's probably one of the best, in my opinion.
Thanks.
There's plenty of space. There's the facilities are great. Having beer on tap right there and good food. So
easy to get to.
Yeah, right up the expressway, and we're looking forward to January, mid-January, I think 17th, something like that. That weekend, the holiday weekend, will be our GT, so there'll be 2-day tournaments. So we'll have a bevy of games going off on five rounds over a couple days. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we can get you fellas up to that one as well. So that's Brew Brawl. Yeah, I had a great time. Looking forward to the next one. So what else is going on, guys? I mean, outside of gaming, and what else we got going on? Oh, we have our fantasy football draft this weekend, right? That coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, the world's probably excited to hear about that.
Ready?
So, Josh, it was last year. You went. Was it last year you swept the regular season and bounced in the first round of the playoffs?
No, that was 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons.
Last season was pretty mediocre for me.
Okay, that's good. That makes me feel better, because you seem to prepare for these far more than I do.
I'd like to think that, but it's in 2 days. I mean, I was thinking more about getting everything ready for our RPG on Monday. I totally forgot about the draft. So something else to squeeze in.
Good. Well, I
have not prepared at all.
Nah, I'm not prepared for anything. So I passing understanding of who's playing where in pro football this year. So so it will be an adventure, as it always is. So, but I have won. I've won 1 out of 3. This league's been in inception for 3 years, and I won the first year, and I think I made the playoffs all 3 years. So, I guess if you better be lucky than smart.
Doing something right.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I click the right buttons. Monkeys writing Shakespeare and all that stuff. But so yes,
my first year was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really well prepared. I did pretty terrible. Last year, I had a little more preparation.
Yeah.
I did worse. So this year, I'm going to go the opposite direction and just show up on draft day and see what happens.
So, yeah, smart. That's kind of what I'm looking at too. I it's not a keeper league, so there's not like you pretty much just go down the draft. The first couple rounds, I just pick whoever the best available is, and then figure it out from there. So I'll get my obligatory Browns player, obligatory Seahawks player, and then avoid Steelers players when I can. That's kind of my draft strategy. I'll let you guys in on my super secret my plan. So, but it'll be fun. It'll give me more grown men wearing spandex to be mad at on a Sunday afternoon, just beyond just the teams that I root for. So. So speaking of fantasy, we also have a new campaign coming out, a little RPG. We're going to try a new RPG out. We're kicking that off on Monday too, right? Tyler, you want to chat a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think the last time we were on here, we were hoping to do it that Monday, that following Monday.
Yeah.
Maybe we had just missed it. We ran into some issues. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to run the Stormlight Archives. Going to use Roll20 for that.
Yeah.
We did the starter mission, which I think we talked about last time.
We did.
So we're all pretty pumped for it.
Yeah.
Should be a good time.
Yeah. Super cool. Like I get you really excited for that intro, and we don't need to rehash it fully, but that intro is just so cool. I'm really, really excited to start this off, and even at the low levels will be kind of neat. So I'm very curious to see what everybody's going to be playing and you know what the experience is like. So
yeah, we're gonna do the
was that?
Yeah.
I said I was definitely looking forward to it. It just seems very interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a whole new take. Obviously Sanderson's take on the fantasy universe is cool, and just the overall character building and the way that sort of magic works and everything like that is just really, really neat. And so it'll be and the good news is there's no other races. Our our player base tends to like to play goblins and kobolds and just light stuff on fire and cause general mayhem. So there'll be hopefully a slight departure from that, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
There's a will, there's a way.
Right. Never underestimate the desire of murder hobos to do their thing. So so that'll be fun. So yeah, we're kicking.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna do the Stonewalkers campaign, the original or the first fully fleshed out campaign. I think it runs through level 8. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Might depart before we get to level 8, but we'll find out.
And where does that take place in the book timeline again? Do you remember?
So it takes place right before, and I think during, and maybe immediately after the Everstorm.
Okay.
So,
good.
So I think that's book 2.
Yeah.
Into the beginning of book 3.
Okay.
It sounds like.
Yeah. No, that'll be a lot of that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to it and figuring out, like I said, what everybody's playing, and then what sort of like radiant paths everybody decides to take and stuff. So that'll be a good time. So yeah, so hopefully we get to play on Monday. Everybody can make it. As always, being grown men with lives and responsibilities makes role playing groups a challenge, but hopefully we'll get there. Cool. So what else are we working on, gentlemen? Anything on our hobby tables? What are we painting up these days?
So I never put paint to that Apex Predator.
Good.
Since the last time we talked.
I like it.
So I'm hoping to get that done. I have a Conquest Escalation League starting on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
At Round Table Game Shop here in Columbus. It's a really, really great game shop if you haven't been there. Yeah. And the Vanguard at that shop's gonna put on an Escalation League. Seems like it has a pretty good setup, and I'm hoping that'll get me painting and building more of my models.
Yeah,
getting that all kind of done up. So, because it looks like most of it's really centered around the painting, the hobby part of it. Obviously, there's the combat, the games, and points for playing and winning, but most of the points really are derived from actually building your army.
Excellent.
Which makes sense for an Escalation League.
Right. What points level are you guys starting at? the games?
So the first game is 1,000 points,
Okay.
and he has a custom scenario for like the first 2 games, I believe.
Nice.
So I think it's 1,000 points, and then I think it's 1,250.
Okay.
I'd have to look, but off the top of my head, that sounds right. I know 1,000's definitely the first.
Yeah.
And that's just like a kill match. It's just designed for, especially people who haven't really played yet, to get them familiar with the mechanics and that. So
Gotcha.
I think he's got a really good setup for it.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, and I think we were chatting through text this week about how hard it is to build a 1,000-point list when you've been playing 2,000 point. To step back, you're like, well, I can't take all my cool stuff. So like, what do you cut out and things like that? You know, and I know you like to run all the big dinosaurs and everything. So probably heartbreaking to have to cut a handful of those out of your list.
Yeah.
So.
No big dinosaurs, unfortunately.
Oh, no big ones. Okay, so you just bunch of the Thunder Riders and what have you.
Yeah. There might be a Quaddle in there, but they're medium. So
gotta have your long boys.
Yep. Gotta have the long boys.
Awesome, man. Well, you have to keep us up to date with that, and if he has any kind of PDFs, I'd love to see those. What he's doing, and because I know.
I'll send that along to you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, and because I know Josh, you're starting to do some stuff down, at your local shop as well, trying to grow the game. So you want to talk about that, Josh? What you got going on, or you want to talk about
down at Battlegrounds to Board Games in Canton, September 13th, we're getting a play day going. Having people show up for demos and some returning people coming in to maybe see what's changed since they've played. The shop had a pretty good player base about a year ago, and once the new edition of AOS came out, everyone kind of gravitated towards that, but hoping to refocus and get some people going just so we can start to get the player base growing in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It seems like we have several different groups of folks, some different metas kind of working together and trying to connect all those people to keep the momentum for the game going. So that's really cool. So of course that means you'll probably have to get some painting done.
Yeah, I need to. I keep going back and forth on color schemes, but I'll get there eventually.
Right. Yeah. Just do what I do. Just grab a random paint and just start slapping it on models, and then that becomes the color scheme. It's kind of what I did with my spires. And granted, your stuff will look way better than mine does, but because I get that indecision. I'm just like, fine, I'm just going to do this and roll with it. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to do, and hopefully I can make it down on the 13th. I have to check with my wife, but I think we might have a schedule conflict. But hopefully I can be there at least for a little bit. So good. So we're Tyler's working on the projects you have, and hopefully the Escalation League will help you sort of focus your attention on here's the core of what the army is going to be, and I'll start there. And Josh, I know you're working towards getting some models painted to possibly become a Vanguard or something like that. So whatever it takes to get you motivated. It's hard to find that motivation to paint. So I just started. I acquired a Spires army, so I started figuring out the paint scheme for that. I think I finally have it. But man, it's going to be so easy to paint. I'm looking forward to flying through that thing to give me a second army to play and demo with. Been working on some Warcrow stuff. Just really nice to have units that have no more than 4 models in them. It makes them a lot easier to get done. So it's also nice to get back to be able to paint my own stuff after working on terrain for a couple of weeks for Brew Brawl and everything like that. So, but that's it, guys. I appreciate you hopping on. Really excited about Brew Brawl. I'm glad you guys were able to make it up. I love running those things, but it took like a good 2 days for my voice to come back. Because I'm not back in mid-year teaching form yet, where my voice is used to talking all day. So that went for a couple days, and then just being tired from just moving around all for 3 straight days was a bit much. And then the food and beverages I put in my body as well. So I'm glad we waited until today to do this. I don't think I'd have been hardly functional prior to that. So so next week I think we're gonna hop on and check out how the escalation's going. We'll talk about our fantasy football draft. I know the world is excited to hear.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I know the world. Like, come for the gaming stuff. Stay for the fantasy football content. There's probably a huge crossover there between those two worlds. That Venn diagram is just probably a circle. Yeah, and I'm excited to talk about Stormlight Archives too. I just what that looks like. It should be a lot of fun. So we'll do that. And so with that, I think we're going to get, unless you guys have anything else pressing, did I forget anything exciting in the world that I need to talk about?
Nothing pressing. I did have a question that I thought of
good.
As we were talking.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what games are going to be there for the GT in January? Or when would that usually get announced or anything like that?
That's a great question, and that assumes that there's any kind of planning on my or our end. But so thank you for bringing that up. So we'll have 40K for sure. That's kind of become our bread and butter, and that feels really well. Our last GT we ran, we had Warhammer: The Old World. We had 20 players come out, and a lot of them said they'd come back. So probably that. AOS, we're not sure. It's had varying degrees of success for us. I'm going to make sure that Conquest is there because I love it, and I want to make sure that we promote it. So at least those four, and if we can squeeze one or two other things in, we will. So it's just going to come down to space, but so definitely plan on Conquest, and then at least two big GW games, and maybe Star Wars Legion, depending on how that's looking. So that'll be the plan.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing is we'll have
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll have that Monday. I have that Monday off. That Monday off for the holiday, so I'll have a day to sort of recover and everything like that. So, but yeah, so hopefully we'll see you guys there in some capacity. But other than that, folks, please like it. If you enjoy what we're doing, you like watching us ramble, please like and subscribe below. The rest of today's episode, we're going to be talking to some of the winners of the events. Josh, I know you and I had a chance to chat about your victory, talk about your games and everything like that, your opponents, your strategy. And it's interesting hearing you and all the other people that win there who are like actually good at games, sort of like what your strategy is like prior to and in game, because I don't have any of that stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We have, I think, 3 or 4 of the winners we'll have some interviews with. So hang out for that, and we'll be back with you hopefully next week. All right, folks, have a great week of gaming. That was a terrible outro, but we're sticking with it. Thanks, folks. See you guys next week. All right, and welcome back, everybody. Now the moment everybody's been waiting for. At our last Brew Brawl, participants had an opportunity to like, subscribe, and join our Instagram, YouTube, and Discord for the event. So we're now going to do a random drawing, and the person whose name pops up is going to win an entry into the next or a subsequent Brew Brawl event. So we're going to go ahead and give this wheel a spin of all the people who joined, and let's see who we can give some stuff away to. Gabe Bears. Gabe, excellent. Gabe's a 40K player who's been at every single Brew Brawl, so we're excited to give this away to you, Gabe. I'll be reaching out to you and let you know what you've won, and we'll get you signed up and registered. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in January at our GT events. And welcome back, folks. We are excited and exhausted from a great Akron Brew Brawl. We had 7 games competing over 3 days of events, so lots of winners. So we're going to go ahead and interview and talk to some of the winners about the event, what it was like to play, maybe how you dealt with some of the August heat in a 120-year-old building, and what it was like to win, talk through the games. So we're joined today by Josh Mott, who was the winner of our first Conquest event at the Akron Brew Brawl. Josh, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Like you said, I am very tired. It was a great event. Unfortunately, only 3 tables for Conquest. I wish there would have been a little bit more, but something to look forward to for next time, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, the way I like to look at it, there was our event, and then there was another event going off in Michigan. So within a 3-hour drive, there was 2 events. There was 46 total players, so 23 average 23 players per event there. I felt pretty good, but when you break it down, there was 6 at ours and 40 at theirs. But theirs was the big WCE a big sponsored event that's going to win you points to go get to play a tournament in Greece. So I can see why people probably made the drive over there. So next time, hopefully, we'll continue to expand that and see some new faces. So, but we appreciate you coming out, and congrats on the win, man. You played well. It looked like your first couple games you stomped some folks, and you had a pretty tight one in that third match. So, what were general impressions of? I know you're relatively new to the Conquest scene, and played in a handful of events and everything like that. So, what are your thoughts quickly on Conquest as a game and as a tournament game, as a competitive event?
So I've played in a total of 3 tournaments over the past month, and super nervous about the first one, but quickly realized that it plays very, very quickly, and in general, most opponents are very good to play against, really good at explaining how things work and just making sure that there aren't any surprises along the way. But with the alternating activations, that really makes it more engaging for me rather than, hey, I'm going to do all my stuff and then you do all your stuff. So there's not any like downtime during the game. So it keeps you engaged, always on the edge of your seat. Every game I've played has been close except for a couple. But yeah, it feels like it was made to be played competitively.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are my feelings as well. Just the idea that it's the things I look for a game that I'm going to play competitively are, like you said, is it going to keep me engaged through the whole time? Does it play quickly? Do the games generally feel close? So even when that score, you win or lose by 20, 30 points, like a lot of times it comes down to a couple rolls here, a couple rolls there, and then the tide just gets turned into snowball. So for me, it feels like it was made for competitive play. Not to say that Conquest can't be played narratively. I think they do a great job of encouraging narrative, which is something that we added this time into the event, was those bounties and stuff like that, of just silly things that you can do to try to win you some prizes. But I think it does make a great competitive game. So I lost my train of thought. So overall, tell me about what are your thoughts on the Brew World? This is the first chance that you've had to come up and play with us. So as far as events go, how did it feel to play there? Did you enjoy your experience?
Oh, definitely. So the Missing Falls Brewery staff was excellent, and they were very attentive, making sure everything that was handled. And of course, Chris and the rest of the JAC staff were around, making sure things were moving smoothly. The best part for me was probably the catered meal. There was a wide variety. I mean, if somebody couldn't find something that they would enjoy from that spread, then there was probably something wrong with them. But it was more than I expected, so it was a pleasant surprise and very nice.
Good. Yeah, thank you. And it probably helped a little bit that the Conquest event was like 10 feet away from the food, so you guys could get food whenever you needed to. But the Missing Falls Breweries folks, if you're ever in Akron, go check them out. Amazing beer, fantastic food, great service. It's just a great outfit. And I think that Chris and Emily and Scott and all the rest of the crew did a great job. And as frantic as it is for us running the events, like there's just chaos behind the scenes. I think most of what we do doesn't necessarily show. Hopefully to the players, that's our hope, is that they don't see that chaos. So cool, man. I appreciate that. So let's talk through the event, right? So we had 6 players register overall. Hold on one second, Josh. I'm going to ask you to talk me through your opponent. So I'm going to go off screen for just a second. I'm going to listen to you talk. Talk to me about let's walk through your round. So who did you play first round? What was the opponent like, and what was that game like?
Sure. So if you don't mind, first I'll run through my list composition. This is very, very similar to what I started with in my first tournament, and I've made just a few small tweaks here and there. So I ran a Noble Lord with Armor of Dominion and Forward Force, and he was in a 6-stand unit of Household Guard. He's really really punchy unit for what they are, and it tends to take some people by surprise. In the past games, I was finding that he was a little slow to come on, so giving him flank so that he was coming on turn 2 along with another unit was huge. Because the other big unit that I have in his warband is 6 stands of men-at-arms with the veterans, so that they all have hardened, to just give them a little more staying power. And those two guys are my big, let's go find a objective and sit on it.
Right.
So they were supported by, a minimum unit of longbowmen. They'd love to just sit in the back and shoot over everything.
Yeah.
They don't do a lot of damage, but it adds up over the course of the round. And of course, my favorite Pink Pony Club, my Mounted Squires, they're just a fast unit. They're really made to run to the flanks and get some extra damage that way, but I like to use them as a distraction and to tie something up. So usually whatever looks the scariest is what I run them into, just to buy myself a little time.
Yeah, and that's great. And heck, 130 points is pretty cheap for the experience I've had playing against them, and especially playing against you. Is that they more than make up their points. They as a harassing unit, as to slow something down, and some damage output. I feel that they have a pretty good damage output for their points for sure.
Definitely. My second warband, I had a chapter mage. Had her running with water spells, so that I could heal up some people, but it didn't really come into effect. I think my next iteration, I'll probably switch her to fire just to get some more damage output. I think over the course of the 3 rounds, I maybe healed a total of 8 wounds, so I think I can find something better for her to do. But she goes in with some crossbows, which is nice because then it turns them into a scoring unit as the light, which is very nice. And then another minimum unit of men-at-arms just to come in later and kind of support wherever they need to.
Right.
Then my really punchy stuff is in my third warband, and this is where I vary because you don't see a lot of orders being run in tournaments, but no. I love my Priory Commander, Crimson Tower Commander. I give him eccentric fighting style and Caliburn, so he gets to reroll all of his attacks, impact attacks, clash attacks.
Wow.
And his opponent has to reroll all successful saves. So he's punching with 8 attacks, and whatever gets through, if you save it, you have to reroll it. So he does a lot of work.
Right.
He's in a unit of Sealed Temple. Mm-hmm. They're a medium unit, so that gets them on the board a little bit faster.
Right.
And their fluid formation is really nice because they can come on 2x2, and then when they need to, do the reform into a 4 wide, and it gives them a couple extra inches of movement.
Okay.
And then his 2 units of Crimson Tower, which I use them a little differently this time. I had them come in on the flanks, and it really worked out really well. So it seemed to work pretty well for me. So going into this tournament, there were three people that I did not want to play. I did not want to play Euroni just because I've heard the reputation of how difficult they are.
Yeah.
There was another 100 Kingdoms player who had a very, very strong Imperial feudal list, with a bunch of Household Guard and a bunch of Steel Legion and Gilded Legion. So very similar to mine, but without the cavalry. And it's a list that's been doing really well in the tournament scene, so I was a little afraid of that also. And then the third list that I didn't want to play against was a Wadroon list with Death Cults. I think the Sign of Death and the Chosen of Death. Just a very, very scary blender unit. And, of course, my luck, those were the 3 opponents that I played. So
yeah, you got all 3. But hey, I mean, you went 3-0 against them, so that's a credit to you because you weren't playing the current hotness of the 100 Kingdoms, and you beat that hotness, so that's really good to see. So no, that's great. So I had a question for you about your Priory Commander. You run it with the Sealed Temple. because of the medium, do you find that getting him, like, that gives you at least one extra turn getting on the table? Do you find that extra turn with that unit is that valuable? Because I'm sure you're giving up a little bit of durability there, right?
Yeah, definitely giving up durability. They have less wounds than the Crimson Tower, but they are faster.
Okay.
They have the same number of impacts. They're not brutal, though, but I find that doesn't matter. But being able to bring him on turn 2 and bring on the Noble Lord turn 2 at the same time really helps solidify my game plan.
Okay.
So what I do is I keep them till the very end of turn 2, just so that I can line him up against whatever the biggest threat on the board is.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. Then you do that. Then you have your the Crimson Tower, the heavies, like you said, to come in on the flanks, and that's, you've got some big blocks of infantry in the middle, and that is going to work pretty well, right? Especially when the game is meant to be spread out across those objectives and stuff, and you can really shrink the battlefield for your opponent. So and it very clearly worked for you. So let's talk through your games. Let's go through round by round and talk about your opponent and what your strategy was to beat him. So who did you have round one?
So,
go ahead.
So round one, I had Patrick with his Euroni, and I hadn't faced Euroni yet, so I was a little afraid. So I played very conservatively, which is usually pretty difficult for me because I just want to run in and just start smashing stuff. Right. So we kind of played chicken for a couple of rounds, and then I got really lucky with winning some supremacy rolls, so I was able to really change the tempo up and make some really strong charges that if I had played a little more aggressively, I wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, that was very interesting. I mean, those Euroni units are strong. I mean, Origami blowing me up.
Yeah.
And what are they? The Tengu, the archers, just shooting all over the place, and their stats are just so high.
Right.
I was kind of jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to compete with baseline humans, and there's definitely a stat difference. But
for sure.
I think the biggest thing for me is I don't remember what it's called, but the big tall monster with like the demon arm.
Yes.
He was a little too aggressive with him, and I was able to get a charge off with my household guard.
Yeah.
And just straight up obliterated it in one turn. And I think it was really close up to that point, but that seemed to be the linchpin of his army, and once it fell, everything else just started to crumble.
Okay. Yeah, and I find that's I've played a couple games against Euroni and Patrick specifically, and Patrick, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but he's very aggressive with that motto that I'm not going to try to pronounce, but it's the one that has the demon arm that disgusts me. But it's overall, once that's such a point sink, and I think you can, and he relies on that so much that once that does fall, that it's they just don't have enough units and big units that you can get around them and actually start to flank them and start to wear them down. But yeah, the Euroni baloney is real, man. Like, they have a tool for everything, and with their card flips, they can use any unit anytime they want to. So yeah, they're definitely, I think, a really hot top tier list right now. But yeah, I'm glad you had success there. Like, and that was a pretty big margin of victory, right? Because once you got the giant out of there, it sort of snowballed.
Once we got the giant out of there, I mean, it got to the point where he only had one unit left on the board. I think it was probably round 5 or 6.
Okay.
So just being able to finish out the game, scoring objectives over and over and over again, that drove the score up a little bit. Yeah. It was a lot closer, though, than the score made it look like.
Okay. Very good. So that's round 1. So then you go on to round 2, where you got to face the second army that you didn't want to face, which was the Wadruin, correct? Yeah.
No, that was Sawyer and his 100 Kingdoms.
Oh, that's right. You had 100 Kingdoms. That was the 100 Kingdoms match round 2. Okay. Yeah. So talk to me about that. He was playing the current hotness, right?
Yeah, pretty hot list. I mean, it's probably one of the stronger lists. That and Theist is really what you see right now. So it was pretty much a mirror match. He'd bring on his crossbows, I'd bring on my crossbows. He'd bring on his longbows, I'd bring on my longbows. So just trying to set it up and get board control. Trying to spread everything out evenly just so that nothing was concentrated. Because I knew that, if his gilded legion got to me or if his household guard got to me, that it was going to be a bad time for my kingdoms. Okay. So that was where the Mounted Squires, my Pink Pony Club, came in handy. So I was able to get them across the board very, very fast, and get them in the face of his crossbows, which were 11, somewhere between 11 and 16 inches up the board. I don't remember if he used his Imperial officer to march them up faster or not, but it was a distraction. So his household guard tried to flank charge, and unfortunately for him, he failed. Even with his reroll, he wasn't able to make it. And it was a high number that he needed, but I believe that was probably the beginning of the end, because then he had so many units concentrated over in that corner of the battlefield that I was able to kind of concentrate on the other side. So he brought on some sorry, I forget the name of the knights because I don't have them. The household knights. Okay. The mounted unit. So very similar to me, he was running them up the flank, and again, that would have been an easier charge for him to make because my Crimson Tower were right across from him, and he knew what the Crimson Tower could do, so he was trying to get them tied up, but unfortunately the dice just weren't with him, and he failed that charge too. So the Crimson Tower punched through them very quickly and just kind of started cleaning everything up on the side of the board. Yeah. And it was like a wave going from east to west. So that one was pretty one-sided. I believe the score was 50-0 on that one.
Yeah, it was. I saw that. I couldn't believe that one because it didn't. When I kept walking by, it didn't look like it was that lopsided for the first couple rounds. But I was there, and Sawyer is admittedly a very aggressive player. He likes to make those. If he makes that home run charge, right? I felt like he needed a 6 on that charge, maybe like a re-rollable 6 or maybe re-rollable 5 or 6. But it was. But had he made that, man, like the complexity of the game is going to look different, right? Because if he gets that charge off, he's into your lines.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, and that's something I enjoy about the game so much is it rewards aggression if it's successful. But if you take that risk and don't, it's going to hurt you in ways that you may have, you may struggle to recover from. And I think it just makes such a really cool, feels cinematic to me, like a big battle or something. So, but that was good. But yeah, 50-0. That was good for, beating up that what looked like a mirror match for a few minutes, and you were slowly able to beat them up. So, and then the finals match. Let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, so Matt from West Virginia, really, really glad that he drove over.
Yeah.
He was
big shout out to Matt.
He was a wonderful person to play with.
Yeah. So hey, by the way, before we get into Matt, hey, if you're listening in West Virginia, find Matt Chambers. He's trying to get some conquest going down there. Great guy to play with. Happy he came up. I think he had the longest drive of any of our players. So thank you for coming up. And West Virginia crowd, where you at? Go ahead and start playing some conquest, right? So let's talk about. Sorry, shameless plug there to get people playing. So tell me about that game with Matt.
So he played a very different list. Our buddy Tyler plays Woodrune also, and he loves the dinosaurs. So I kind of knew what the dinosaurs would do. He had a very, very strong list. He had the Thunder Riders and the Winglord Predator and the block of Chosen of Death, and those things are just nasty. That was a very, very tough match. he had a lot of faster units than I did, so he was able to get scoring sooner than I.
Okay.
And it was a struggle. We were just trading back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But his early lead, he was up by 20 points. I think it was either round 4 or round 5. And I don't know how the 100 Kingdoms did it, but they were able to hold on just long enough and keep whittling them down. And I even said aloud at one point, I said, I need to figure out how to slow down these Thunder Riders. So the longbows went on the offensive, the crossbowmen went on the offensive. They left their, cushy shooting positions and just started making roadblocks just to tie them up, because I made a really, really big error and had my household guard and my men-at-arms too far to the right. And he took advantage of that and employed everything on the left.
Okay.
So he was chewing through everything. My men were running as fast as they could, and finally got onto some objectives and just kind of tried to hang on, basically. And he took out the priority commander pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, but pretty quickly. Crimson Tower were just annihilated by the Thunder Riders. They're so nasty. And I still don't know how it happened, but they were able to hold on to 2 objectives, and he was too far away to get over there to stop them. So I believe it's the first game I've ever played that went all 10 rounds, and the final score was within, I believe, like 3 or 4 points. And
like 46 to 44, something like that.
Yeah, something just ridiculous. And I'm still surprised that was the result.
But that was a good game. It was one I kept checking out, and obviously being the top table of the final round. But yeah, it looked like it was a nail biter, but a friendly game, and so that's great, man. Well, congratulations, and I'm especially happy because you're part of my gaming crew and part of the Too Many Beards crew here on the podcast. So it's good to represent, because God knows when I play in these things, I'm bringing down the win rate of the city state. So I'm really happy for you. You should be proud of yourself. That's awesome. And 100 Kingdoms won the big event up in Michigan too, right?
Yep, they sure did.
So it was a good day for the 100 Kingdoms. So overall impressions, like you said, you like Conquest as a competitive game. I think it works really, really well. We did 2.5-hour rounds, which felt like more than enough. 2 hours, I think a lot of us are still kind of working up to that speed, but 2.5 hours, I think most people got through their games, and so that was good. And and huge shout out to Parabellum at the end of the event. I mean, this was our one of our smaller events players wise, but it had the absolute best prize support thanks to Parabellum, and they're loving their player base, and the freebies and giveaways and their OP kits and stuff are just absolutely amazing. So so you got to walk away with hopefully a little swag, at least a certificate that had your name on it and said you won something, and a coin.
Yeah, the certificate's nice, and the coin, and I got one of the promo models from the kit. I still have no idea what it is, but I'll be uploading a picture of that to the Conquest Discord later, and hopefully somebody can tell me what it is.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I can't even remember. Did you get the one with the long spear? Is that right? This looks spires like, or no?
It's kind of spires looking. Really long braid and a giant spear, tall, very feminine looking.
Okay.
Yeah, really no clue, but I think it'll be fun to paint up and see what it is.
Yeah, absolutely, and then maybe start a new army. But so the other neat thing about Conquest was we think the game looks amazing on the table, and that you take an army like Tyler's it had 5 or 6 just giant dinosaurs, right? And so I was looking through the Discord last night and this morning, and people were like, you know what? I came up to play Warhammer. I came up to play Star Wars Legion. But I kept walking by the Conquest table and seeing these giant dinosaurs, and I'm going to be checking this game out. I mean, it's hard to walk by that game on the table and not go, that's really cool. Orcs riding dinosaurs with all the giant, great-looking models and stuff like that. So, I was excited to see that. So.
Yeah, that's definitely something I like about Conquest in general. Is all of the factions are very unique. They have their own flavor. Nothing really seems mundane. I mean, even the 100 Kingdoms would be your most basic, feudal army, but it still has a lot of character, especially with the different orders and the Theist and the Imperial. But every faction just has its own flavor, and they're beautiful to look at.
Yeah. I mean, God, those knights or the orders, you compare those to other games' knights, they're sort of like, standard human knight on horse, and the Conquest models are twice as big, and they're just, the detail's great, they're dynamic. It's just such a cool looking game on the table. I don't think anything compares to it. Like game table wise, like the Star Wars Legion, those tables looked amazing, but the models are like, okay, they're fine. But like Conquest, you absolutely get blown away by looking at the models, and it's such an easy way to attract people to the game, because you're like, oh my gosh, look at that giant dinosaur, or the Euroni with every model is 5 inches tall and just looks really, really cool. So
definitely. And the 100 Kingdoms matchup, 100 Kingdoms and 100 Kingdoms, I mean, it looked like a scene out of a movie. Just two massive armies lined up. I mean, the whole board was covered.
Yeah. It was just massive blocks of infantry, cavalry charging everywhere. Yeah, it's a very cinematic game, and I think for that, it makes it, even when you're playing a competitive event, you're trying to win the tournament, it still, just for me visually, just looks so cool. So I don't mind losing that much, because I'm like, okay, at least this stuff looks cool, and I get to tell a cool story. So, so Josh, thanks for talking through your list. Thanks for talking through your opponents, and we'll be doing this again. It looks like we're going to be able to add a 2-day GT style tournament onto our January event. So hopefully we'll see you up there to defend your title. Any last thoughts? Any closing thoughts on your tournament, your event, your opponents, your list, the Brew Brawl in general? Anything? Any parting shots from you, Josh?
I would just encourage anybody who may be on the fence. It is a wonderful game. Contact Drew, contact myself. Either one of us would be more than happy to run you through a game. It's not a lot of rules, but there are some strange things that make it unique compared to other rank and file games. And the models, of course, are beautiful, but the best thing is, the rules are free, and Parabellum does a really good job of making updates and making tweaks, small tweaks as they go, and it just makes everything feel fluid and cohesive, and it's just a joy to play.
Yeah, no, awesome. Speaking of teaching people to play, I may have volunteered both of us to drive down to West Virginia and run some Learn to Play events down there. So I'm glad you said that you're willing to teach people, because we might be going to West Virginia. So,
perfect. I'll get my banjo ready.
Wonderful. Well, Josh, thanks for spending some time, and congrats on the big win. And get rest and recuperated. And so we will we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Josh. All right, folks. Take care. Hey, thanks for tuning in, folks. We thank Josh for coming on and talking about his experience. We had a great event over at Brew Brawl. My voice is still strained. But if you like what you hear, if you're interested in coming and checking out, come for the game, stay for the beer, stay for the food, and then, join our Discord. Come ask questions so you can stay up to date with everything. The links for that will be below, and thanks so much, and we'll be back. welcome back, folks. On to our next segment. We are joined today by someone I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the last couple years through the Brew Brawl with the Marvel Crisis Protocol, the MCP community. Bryce Potts is here with us. Hey, Bryce, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Drew. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, thanks.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Like, trying to grow the community. I think I've been really inspired by the work you do with MCP and something called the Appalachian Cup, which is designed, is my understanding, to get I keep saying local metas, but it's getting local metas together to play with each other. And, you've got groups, you're from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, and other places, getting together, playing a great game, and growing those communities and making friends, along the way. And the one thing I'm finding through the interviews that I'm doing and people I'm talking to is really the best part of this is the friends you make, right? The social part. So, and we'll get to all that, but enough about that. So Bryce, go ahead and tell me, like, what is the Appalachian Cup? It's obviously from Marvel Crisis Protocol, my favorite game system that I never have enough time to play. So tell me all about it.
Yeah, so the Appalachian Cup was born out of last year. We were a part of the Big East Crisis Cup, which is a mouthful. And that was designed around trying to get like a big final tournament that didn't really kind of fire the way that we had wanted it to. So I kind of took the ball and went with what we did last year with what was called the Ohio Valley and rebranded it as the Appalachian Cup with help from Brad down in Charleston. This was kind of his idea originally. They used to do it for game systems like War Machine. I think Warhammer had it at one point as well. And yeah, the idea is to get these regional local communities together in regional qualifying events where players earn points based on their standings, how many rounds they play, and how many wins they get. Okay. And then at the end of the year, the end of the season, which will be in April, we're going to do a big 16-person invitational tournament for bragging rights about who is truly the best player in the region. Okay. That's just kind of a quick synopsis on the App Cup, as we have come to affectionately call it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I unfortunately I don't get to play in it as much as I'd like to, or at all. I usually find myself hosting events on the weekends. You all are playing, but I think it's really cool. And you guys are going to be, you've been at Brew Brawl with us every single one that we've run, I think, with the exception of like a GT. But so we love having you guys, and it's been so cool meeting you and meeting the guys from West Virginia, and just meeting everybody. It's really neat, and I absolutely commend you. So what kind of work, everybody likes to go to the party, but a lot of people don't think about what goes into the party. I've spent the last week and a half painting terrain, so I'm sure you do similar things. So tell me, how do you make that sausage? What's that look like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, from running the Brew Brawl that any sort of event that you want to run it can be a Herculean task at times. Thankfully, Brad has been such a huge help since he's already run it. He does all of the software for me. Okay. He pulls all the data from Longshanks to get our points together. And for me, like, a big task is just trying to get everybody together to get these events basically to run, right? Like last year, we unfortunately had a TO drop out because a community dropped out. So it's a lot of scrambling for me trying to get people to run events, who wants to run them, where are we going to run them, putting that schedule together. And then I put the packet together. I put the scoring system together. I organize where the final is going to be. I'm basically in charge of everything, which is rare for me because I'm a fourth-year teacher, which means I'm in charge of nothing.
Just wait, you'll get more responsibilities.
It's a big change for me, but I love running things. I've always loved organizing communities, whether it's a small D&D group, college, social groups, or anything like that. So for me, it's a labor of love, but I really am in charge of just kind of the logistics, putting everything together and making sure that we actually have events that want to run our qualifiers, like the Brew Brawl.
No, that's great. So, and I think it's wonderful. I mean, it's really cool. There's a lot of engagement. The Discord is really live. I think, to your credit and everyone who helps run it, it really keeps momentum for a great game alive, right? I think these games stand by themselves. MCP, like I said, is probably my favorite rule set for a game. I love Marvel. I love Spider-Man. So like it's not hard to get me into the game, but I, like so many other gamers, have gamer ADD, and I bounce around from game to game, and not only because I can't keep focused on one thing, but also like you alluded to, local gaming communities, they move around. One day you're playing MCP, there's not a lot of people playing MCP at my local shop. But the cool thing is, I know that if I want to continue to play, I can go to an event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I can go to West, so I can get and I can find those people, which is really, really neat. It helps keep those games alive. That huge props to you guys for continuing to do this. It's my dream to do this with other games that I play. I'm big into Conquest right now, and I'd love to see something very similar. I'll probably be stealing some of your ideas if I ever can get it off the ground. So I think it's great. So hopefully people will check it out. If you like Marvel Crisis Protocol and you're in, how many states are we covering now? How many states to go in the ACP?
So currently, as far as events that are running, we have 3 states. So it's Western PA, so Pittsburgh primarily for me. I run the Pittsburgh events out of the Fabricators Forge. Absolutely. In Pittsburgh, PA, technically Coropolis, which is like a neighborhood. But that's where we run all our events for Pittsburgh. In Charleston, West Virginia, we have a couple of events that are run by Brad, who I mentioned a couple of times, down in Lost Legion, is their primary store. And then we have the Brew Brawl that runs twice a year over at Mr. Paul's, one of my favorite events to attend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then
probably because it has all the beer,
I think
right?
Recess is going to run one in November,
good.
Which is in Cleveland.
Yeah. Get some more Ohio representation. That's exactly. Great. And so if you're looking to play in that tri-state area, absolutely get involved with this. Not only will you find events to play in, but just the crowd is amazing. The group of people are really, really cool. But no matter how cool people are, being a TO and being someone who organizes things brings with it a certain set of stresses. So what is as someone who enjoys the game, as someone who runs the cup, but also you run events, what is one thing you wish players knew, right? Like, because a lot of times y'all be running an event and someone will come up and say, I can't believe there was like a door not painted on this piece of terrain, and I'm like, dude, like I wish, what is that one thing you wish your players knew? And I don't mean to call players out, but it's still you have it so good. What is that one thing that you wish everybody knew about running an event?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really great question, because being a TO is always like a thankless job, right? Oftentimes you hear the thank you from the people who have already been in the shoes that you were in. Yeah. For me though, like the one thing I wish the players knew is when you drop, right? MCP has a little bit of that from like the Magic the Gathering problem that I call it, where if a player goes 0-1, 0-2, or maybe they go 2-0 and then they lose, they drop.
Right.
That doesn't just affect you.
Right.
In the situation, right? It's going to affect everybody else. If it's an even number, it creates a bye, which is just an awful experience to have for somebody. Or if TO is lucky enough to play in it, sometimes they have to drop. And that bums not only the TO out, but the players who maybe wanted to play you, or it shakes up things within like the actual standings themselves. And it can hurt people outside of your own actions. So dropping for me is the thing that sometimes will drive me bananas as a TO. Yeah. Because I just don't get it personally.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. I hadn't really that wasn't in my like top 5, but now that you mentioned, like, that is day of event. That is because it causes it hurts the other players, but it also is stress for you. Like, now how do you adjust and make sure that it works for everybody? Now, am I at an odd number? Is somebody gonna have to sit out, or do I have someone who can ring, play a game, or what that looks like? And you're sacrifice, usually depending, if the event's big enough, you're sacrificing getting to play. Like, you're running the event, and you're like, man, I wish I could play, and you showed up and you lost a couple games. Now you're just going to leave. And if it's my local shop, I live 5 minutes away, it's one thing. But if I drove a couple hours and I'm like, I think I'm just going to quit. That's baffling to me. Like, I guess I suck at games, so win and lose, like, I lose most of my games anyway, so I show up expecting to lose, but hoping to have a good time. But yeah, that's a really good point, that idea that, so players out there, if you're playing an event, please just stay in. even if you lose, just have fun. Like we're playing with plastic dollies, right? Like at the end of the day, just enjoy yourself. Yeah. So that's really
how many games do you get a week, right?
Yeah.
When you go to a tournament, you can take that expectation you're going to get 3 to 4 games.
Right.
When you drop, you're going to cost somebody potentially one of those games they don't get to play.
Right.
So like for those of us that don't get to play all the time, I'm lucky enough to have a local game night on Tuesdays where I get to go and I get 1 to 2 games in a week. But for people who drive 3-4 hours, this might be the 4 games they get in a month.
Right. Yeah. That's a really good point. And so I guess, thinking about your fellow gamers, right? And if this is a social experience, you're part of this, like your enjoyment should mean as much to me as mine does when we're playing this game. And I think that, and then you expand that to an event. I think that's a really, really, a really good point. So yeah, folks, sign up, play the events, man. Like our events, I just keep drinking beer, right? Like at the end, it's going to be more fun if you drink more beer, whatever it is. Just stay in the events and enjoy them. Yeah, I think that's great.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
When you lose, go get a beer.
Yeah,
go buy a pint of beer, and you're probably at that point you're playing somebody who has lost as well. Just have fun with it.
And that's the thing. Like if
these events, like you said, social.
Yeah, if I lose my first game or 2 games of a 4 or 5 round event, like I know that I'm not going to win, so I'm just going to go play with people who are in the same boat as me. So let's just have fun. Let's make this game narrative. Let's tell a story. So I think finding ways to enjoy the event, win, lose, or draw wherever you are, I think that's important. And I know as a younger man, I was highly competitive. I played highly competitive, GW, 40K, Warhammer. And when I lose, I did not like losing. I didn't take it well. And as I've aged, I've realized, like once I lose, I can really enjoy the event, as opposed to that pressure of continuing to win. So both of them, so you just have to tailor your expectations of what the event's going to be, which I think is a thing that more of us need to learn. So I think that's a really, really well made point. So running events, I love running events. I've found that I enjoy running them nearly as much as I enjoy playing in them now. But those really small downsides, and the downsides are negligible, right? Like, yeah, it sucks when someone drops, but I still focus on my other 10, 20, 30, however many plays I've got, and them enjoying themselves. So I think that's bringing your own perspective to that. So very cool stuff. So let's I should mention we do have the a cup event coming up next weekend, next Saturday. So I think we're up to 24 people registered right now, which is really, really cool. I think that's my number. I could be wrong. I have 10 games in my head. It might be 14. I don't know.
I checked. I think it was 16 on Longshanks, but I know not everybody always signs up on Longshanks right away.
Yeah. No, then
it's always a great event.
They're good. Thank you. Yeah, and hopefully it continues to be a great event. So 16 people. There's a reason I don't teach math. So cool.
Same.
So yeah. And full disclosure, Bryce and I are both social studies teachers. So math probably not our strong suits, but we can bring out obscure historical facts, I'm sure, if you need them. So Bryce, we like to do this with
Brad teaches computer science and math. He's my math guy.
So when I need to do the editing for this, I'll reach out to him and he can help me with that. And he can Anyway, but so we like with all of our guests, we like to do. We have 5 questions we really like to ask, because what I'm finding through this process is getting to know gamers and sort of like their journeys and stuff. I find that fascinating. I think it's interesting. So I love that you've got expertise as sort of an event runner. I think the Appalachian Cup is amazing, folks. Anyone who's looking to expand people to play their games, look at running something like this. Use the Appalachian Cup as an exemplar. But we do have these 5 questions because we would like to get. I'm enjoying getting to know gamers. The stories are fascinating. So the first question we always ask is how did you get into gaming, and what's that journey look like? Where did you start? Like my journey goes back to me being 5 years old playing Dungeons and Dragons. I talked to a guy today. He's like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for like 3 years." So it's like, okay. So where did you start, and how did you get to here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes from us being social studies teachers, right? Yeah. We love the stories. We love the history behind everything. It's one of my favorite things to listen to on any podcast that I have a guest on. Their background is one of my favorite things. For me, I grew up in a board game household.
Okay.
We used to do weekly board game nights. That started that, and then it transitioned into video games at a very young age. And eventually, the first game I ever played that had like a map to it would have been Heroescape back in the late 00s, early 2010s.
Okay. Yeah.
So I never played that like outside of my house. But that kind of kick-started this idea of like liking tabletop, wanting to get more into it. So about 10 years ago now, I guess a little bit more than 10. It feels weird. I was a freshman in high school. And
10 years ago you were?
I bought into...
10 years ago you were a freshman in high school?
I guess it'd be 13 now.
Well, okay, that doesn't make me feel better. I'm coming up on like my 35th year reunion or something like that. So, all right, well, go on.
Yeah, I make everybody feel old. I'm sorry, Drew.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was a freshman in high school with 6th edition Games Workshop, which is just crazy to think about now that they're on 10th edition.
Right.
I had just bought into it. That was where I started. With Chaos Space Marines in the dark days of 6th edition when everything was terrible. And I stuck through it until 7th edition and Knights came out. And I jumped over to Fantasy because I liked Fantasy a lot more. I liked the setting more. I've always been kind of in between that sci-fi and fantasy realm, so I just kind of gravitated towards fantasy a little bit more. And then when they killed fantasy, I got really sad.
Yeah.
And I went back to Warhammer because, around that time, there wasn't that many alternatives out yet. And I continued playing 40K through college. I played competitively. I've been to Nova a couple of times. I've gone to like other larger events. And then the pandemic, when everything shut down, I was like, well, I don't have anybody to play 40K with. I don't want to build or paint any of this stuff because like painting 40K models sometimes is just some of the worst experiences you can have when you have to batch paint 80 or 90 or 100 Chaos Cultists.
Yeah.
So I found MCP, Marvel Crisis Protocol, during the pandemic, and I've never looked back.
Okay.
It's the best game system I've ever played. It's my favorite. I really don't play anything else now. It is the only game I live and breathe, MCP. That's
good. No, that's awesome. Okay, so you started with board games, ended on MCP, and it's hard because it is such a great rule set. When Shatterpoint came out, I was so excited. I'm like, oh, okay, Atomic Mass got this property. I'm like, please just reskin MCP, and just put it over Star Wars, and they didn't. And Shatterpoint, it's a fun game, but man, I wish it was MCP, and I wish most of the skirmish games I played were MCP, so that they hit it out of the park. So it's worth staying in. Very good. So what is it? What's the thing that brings you back? Like what is it about gaming that keeps you coming back, and as opposed to going off and doing other hobbies or doing nothing, or what is it about gaming?
I mean, I think we've hit on it a couple of times. It's community, right?
Yeah.
The social community and the people you meet through gaming are just the best people you can meet.
Yeah.
I bounced around a lot. I was a military brat.
Okay.
So I've moved 8 times, 9 times. And everywhere I go, when I get settled in, the first place I go is my LGS. Okay. I try to find whatever gaming store there is.
Yeah.
So that's the best way I've always found to meet people. And gaming is what brings me back. The gaming community is so welcoming. It's so inclusive. They want you to come back because we have such a niche hobby here that you really have to hold on to every single person you get.
Yeah.
If you have 5 or 6 people leave your community, especially for a game like MCP, which is just not near as big as 40K is, right? It's not there yet. It's only been around 5 years. 40K has been around for decades.
Yeah.
So that community aspect is always what's brought me back. I love being a part of this community. That's why I TO things, because I love being a part and growing communities. So that community aspect is always what keeps me coming.
That's cool. And I think almost everyone I've talked to, like community, the social aspect has been the thing that motivates people and brings them back. Do you think there's something unique about gamers? I grew up, I'm 50 and so I grew up in the 80s where we were told that playing Dungeons and Dragons was satanic, and, you got stuffed into lockers and trash cans. If you played Dungeons and Dragons, or heck, I didn't even tell people that much that I read comic books, growing up, because it was still such a taboo, such a nerdy activity, and it wasn't cool to be a nerd. And now it seems like it kind of is, right? And so do you think there's something inherent with gamers that like finding your people, or do you think that's more of a just a, hey, this is what adults do? You find your people and you hang out with them, or is it unique? I don't know.
There is something special about gaming, right? Because even when I was growing up, same thing, right? I grew up in the early 2000s. I was an athlete my entire life. It was sports, right? That was the thing. But then fantasy football became a thing, right? Yeah. And then it became like data and stats were cool,
right?
If you knew that stuff, right? And people's nerdy tendencies, I think, started to show more and more, to the point now where, like, you can live and breathe that because there's not really much of a difference anymore.
Right.
But with gamers, because we all have that shared background, especially however old you are, there's always going to be that stigma around it. Yeah. So being able to overcome that stigma kind of binds people together in a way that I think is really special to gaming specifically, whether it's D&D and RPGs, tabletop, card games, or anything else surrounding kind of this gaming aspect.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. There's, it's always accepted. I would do the same thing. I grew up playing sports, so I had my sports, and I hung out with like the jocks, but I also had my nerdy friends that we'd play D&D, and I was, I guess, more open about the sports I played, but then it's like I wouldn't hide from telling people I played D&D or Warhammer, but I wasn't going to promote, I wasn't going to bring it out and promote it. You know what I mean? So I think there's always a bit of feeling ostracized and feeling like a little bit of an outcast playing these things growing up. And man, I wish me now could go talk to myself back then. I'm like, dude, who cares? Like, these people that you're worried about not accepting you, you're not going to talk to in 50 years, let alone 5 years after high school graduate. So just be yourself, be happy, enjoy it, share this thing. Like, don't ever mask that joy for the thing that you have. And it's a really liberating thing once you get to that point. So,
exactly. When I was in school, I remember there was kids that would play like Yu-Gi-Oh! In our library.
Yep.
And I remember being sort of in that space, sort of not in that space, being like, why are you guys doing this? Like, aren't you worried you're going to get ostracized? And now I'm like, applaud those people for doing that, because ever would have been able to.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, I had a student this year, for what it's worth, just a real quick aside. He knew I was into activities like this, because I talk about it with my students. I have no reason to hide it. I'm already the most uncool person there is. So I have nothing to fear, but he made me a magic deck. And it was the coolest one of the coolest gifts I've ever got. I've gotten many cool gifts, but the guy took time to build a deck and here, based on who I think you are, here's this deck. And I chose green and white because of this, the choices he made. And it was just really, really cool. So it's cool to be able to sort of support and champion those kids now, and hopefully help them find their people and be willing to not hide that part of themselves. I don't know, but it's pretty neat.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts about being a teacher. Not that that's what we're talking about, but it just shows that acceptance that we have now in our community, and just within the greater, I guess, pop culture zeitgeist sort of thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it actually brings me to a thought I had of teachers. I don't know if it's teachers tend to be TOs or TOs tend to be teachers. It's something about our profession that lends it to, okay, I'm going to try to herd the cats. I'm going to make the rules. And I'm just going to let you guys do the fun stuff while I facilitate. Do you think that there's some sort of connection between being the person who likes to run events and person who is also a teacher? Do you think there's a crossover there?
Absolutely. I mean, because we've mentioned now there's 3 of us that run events. Yeah. The 3 primary TOs of the region are all teachers.
Yeah.
There's something about teaching where you have to come up with these plans, keep people engaged, and you have to be logistically savvy to do things that all kind of lead to being a TO.
Yeah.
You have to propagate the community. You have to come up with the activities that people want to do. And at the end of the day, you're the person in charge of putting all that stuff together.
Right. Yeah. And all of that. And then even the small amount of public speaking you have to do. So I think there's skill sets that just sort of, there's a lot of crossover there. And I think it's something I think about a lot. It's the TOs, and even, within the Conquest, the guy who runs the events there, he's a teacher. It's just, so I'm just running into a lot of teachers who do this stuff. So is it just, hey, we have time during the summer to do this, or whatever it is? But I do think that the skill sets, and I think it's an interesting thing. So so teachers make great TOs. We'll have to continue to recruit our fellow teachers. So we talked about what you love about games, and that the things that you enjoy. So what is it that you wish you could change about gaming?
So for me, at least in our local area, one thing I've seen is a lot of what I call tribalism.
Okay.
I'm a wrestling fan too, and this happens in like wrestling and stuff as well. But you can tell like who the 40K players are.
Yes.
You can tell who the skirmish game players are. You can tell who the RPG players are, because they tend to stick to their own circles.
Right.
And while the community, when you break into that group, is very inclusive, there's not a lot of sharing of stuff between those communities. You just mentioned, right, for Conquest, like stealing a little bit of the Appalachian Cup format. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I took the App Cup and some of the formulas from the ITC back in the day when FLG used to do it. Being able to take stuff like that and being able to bring players over, I think is one of those things where when you have a rising tide, it lifts all boats.
Yeah. And
sometimes the gamers tend to only focus on their games. And we even see it with AMG. If Legion gets 4 or 5 releases in a month, and MCP doesn't get any, the MCP players freak out sometimes. And they're like, what is going on?
What about us? Yeah.
Exactly. It's always like what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And that is one of those things that if I could change it and make us more of not just communities, but a communal experience, that'd be something cool. If we hit the reset button on 40K today and put it back to where MCP is, I think we'd have a lot more cross-pollination between all the gaming systems.
So what do you think causes that tribalism? Is it because people only enjoy certain games, or is it because there's limited players in an area, and once a shop gets like, oh, people are coming in buying this game, we better get our claws into them and make sure that they stay? Like, what do you think causes this tribalism?
I think a lot of it is kind of entrenched ideas about what gaming is, especially for 40K, right? 40K is the system. Yeah. So when you break away from that system, people tend to get a little skittish. It started with War Machine, right? Back in the, like when War Machine was kind of on the rise, 40K players didn't like that at all. And then War Machine collapsed under its own weight. And now MCP, Star Wars Legion, I even see it sometimes with 40K and Sigmar players. Same game, same company, but completely different systems.
Oh, very much.
They tend to kind of have some of this. And I've experienced it when I was in 40K and I played competitively. I was like, why are you not playing 40K, right?
Right.
It's like have that limited pool of players and you want to pull as many people in together because everybody has limited amounts of time. But if games are all a spoke on a wheel, it means that you can always go back to it.
Right.
And I think some players forget about that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than walking into a shop. And anytime anytime I travel or move around, I look for a local shop and I'll walk in. And there's nothing worse than walking in and they're playing game X and you're like, hey, I really like game Y. And they're like, oh. It's like, okay, well, I guess I don't want to be here, and you hate to see that. And the good news is I think the longer along the timeline, the more availability to game shops and things like that there are, I think I see that less. But walking into a game shop that's unwelcoming, where it's like, hey, I really want to play MCP, and we're like, well, we don't really have any MCP players, but have you looked at this game? I'm like, no, I wanted to look at that, but now I don't want to be here at all. So thankfully, I think we're seeing that hopefully dissipate a little bit more, even if the tribalism continues, that you're going to welcome that person to the larger community, even if they're not in your tribe. And I think, that's something gamers should think about. That's something we can always do better is, think about the way that, imagine your young self walked into that shop and for the first time, and what's their experience like, and are they going to come back? And so I think reducing our tribalism, I think, can help that a lot. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and I agree. A lot of the stores do a lot better with that. Our shop is really good at that. Like when you walk in, sometimes it can be the players, but our shop itself is super welcoming. You walk in, we have product for every single game system that they sell, and that has a community in it. So that if it's on that shelf, there's a night for it at our shop.
Yeah.
And I know your shop is very similar to that.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's good stuff. So yeah, I think people who already feel a little bit socially awkward are taking a risk by going and being around people. The very least we can do, especially as an old man, is like take the time to welcome them in and make them feel like this is a place you belong. So come be part of our larger tribe, and then find what makes you happy, and we'll make sure you play it. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, so I think things that you do, with the cup and inviting people, getting people out of their element, and going to Fabricators Forge or going down to West Virginia and seeing different shops, different communities, and how they are, it can show you that there's, if not even a better way, but a different way, right? Like learning how to act in different communities. I think that will help break down those walls. So continuing to do things, like you do, I think are terrific, and I absolutely applaud you for them. So let's talk about everybody's favorite. What is on your hobby table right now? What are you working on?
All right, so on my hobby table right now,
I'm guessing it's
currently
terrain.
Dracula, but I'm not painting him.
Okay.
My fiance does most of my painting now.
Oh, you are so lucky.
Everybody says that, and I am so lucky. She has painted, at this point, I just counted, I have like 35 or 40 unpainted models right now for MCP, which is the lowest of any game system I've ever had.
Yeah.
And she's been the backbone of that.
That's amazing. My wife is always like, I would love to paint, and I think she would enjoy it. But she's like, I don't want to screw your models up. I'm like, honey, look at my models. I screw them up. Nobody trust. You couldn't make them worse than I. But no, that's really cool, and it's awesome to have a partner who's not only supportive of what you do, but it gets involved, and I think that's awesome. My wife supports everything I do. She's like, I'm glad you have hobbies. I'm tired of looking at you. But she does. It's not her thing, right? So I think it's really cool that you have that. So nothing on your hobby table right now. That's
on my hobby table. I do all the building stuff.
Okay.
She doesn't like the modeling aspect. So I have currently sitting in the boxes right now on sprues Apocalypse, both Nick Fury Sr., Nick Fury Jr., and Elsa Bloodstone, I think. Yeah. So I have a lot of building I got to do yet.
Very good. Very good. Who you bring into to the brew bar? Are you keeping that secret?
Oh, everybody knew. I think at this point it's pretty open secret. I've been on Spider Foes with an Asgard splash for about the last 3 months, and it's done well.
Yeah.
So I'll be rolling that back out again.
It's got to hit pretty hard. I mean, good heavens. Yeah, that's. I just played against Spider Foes yesterday. I with my buddy Patrick. So, the Spider Foes are legit. So that's awesome, man. So keep building. And I'm going to ask you the last question, but I think I already know the answer. What's your active gaming obsession? Is it MCP?
Always MCP. If it's anything Marvel related, I play a lot of Marvel Champions too, the living card game.
Yeah.
That's also I tend to get into spells with that.
Okay.
But as far as tabletop goes, I have moments where I drift. I tried Shatterpoint out again for the first time after the updates, and I'm like, it's pretty good. It's a nice palette cleanser type of game. But I always find myself drifting back to well, what do I do in this situation? What roster can I build for MCP? Oh, look here, I don't have this model yet.
Yeah.
So for me, it is MCP.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and every time I play Shatterpoint stuff, it's like, why can't this just be MCP rules? That would be. But anyway, I think you've picked a great. MCP is tremendous. It's a game that I got to get back to, and one of these days I'm going to get down and play in one of your events. I mean, you're only an hour and a half away. It's really not that far. So, but I really appreciate you taking the time, Bryce, and I think I can't commend you enough for the work that you do, trying to get people playing this great game. So keep that up. Thanks for taking the time today, and we're going to see you in about a week. A week from tomorrow.
About next week. Yeah. And I look forward to it. Like I said, the Brew Brawl is one of my favorite events I go to. I love the prize support you guys do. I love the food. I love the venue. The drinks are always great too. So, and just everybody, I get to see a lot of people that I don't normally get to see.
Good.
So I'm always looking forward to it. I'm hoping I can bring at least one or two more of my Pittsburgh guys with me. It might be just me, but I'm looking forward to coming at least.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Get back to that wedding planning. I'm sure you're going to be busy doing that for the next couple of months, but congrats on that again, and thanks for joining us. And then we are going to take a break and to pay some bills with some ads, and then we'll be right back. Thanks a lot, Bryce.
All right. Thanks, Drew.
All right.
Yeah.